Good morning, collective. So you know this one. This is Psalm 23. You guys know this one. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He make me lie down in green pastures, and he leadeth me beside still waters. He restores my soul, and he leadeth me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. And though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, it's like you know you're headed toward that battle. I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. And he prepares a table before me in the presence of my enemies. And he anoints my head with oil, and my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Lord bless this reading. Amen. Yeah, so I had this tower moment. You know, you can only come up spiritually without him taking you down a couple pegs. Because when you think you know what you think you know, you don't know. But I've been reading a lot of stories about people that are initiated into gangs and then they're initiated out of gangs and the trauma of that. And collective, you might have experienced that where you were in a group and then when you left the group, maybe you didn't process everything while you were leaving, but you realized, wow, I just survived the gang. Like I just got beat out of a gang. And it may not even be over yet for you. But that's the trauma, or if you read these stories of these inner city kids that they're like 15 years old and they're being knifed or gunned because they're leaving the gang or they're initiated into a gang. It's just that violence. And what it did to me personally, my nervous system is shot to shit. My nervous system, it's what got affected because you have all this armor, spiritual strength, but your nervous system, right? It's like it gets neglected. It gets like, how long are you gonna hold me in this leg? So yeah, I've been working on that because I realize I don't want the lens of that victim going the rest of my life. Like you've read articles or essays about people that are raped or people that are, and that they, after that trauma, their whole lens of what they see in the world is through that lens of that crime. Like, oh, you know, you prepare your cereal like a rape person, or you start your car like that victim. And I mean, because it's in your head all the time. So I'm just here to tell you, collective, that those are some notes of the symphony that have to be softened, that have to be healed, because it's going to be a sharp note or a flat note in that song that people are going to pick up on. Like, wow, that's where the trigger is in that person, is because they remember that trauma. And we don't want that lens going through the rest of our life. Like, okay, well, I was victim to all these crimes, so this is how I see life. So yeah, that was my little tower moment. Is I'm still preparing my cereal going, oh, like, oh, I'm this person of these crimes, but I'm really not. So God is good. He wanted me to talk about Hosea as the chosen one, but Hosea actually wasn't the chosen one. It was his son, Jezreel. You know, Israel was just a city that was worshiping idols, and they just didn't have any respect for God's laws. And God was looking down going, you got to do something about this. These people they're lying, they're cheating, they're stealing, and they're not following my laws. So he hones into Hosea. He's just this normal person, and he starts prophesizing to him. Spirit starts working on him, and he tells him, look, I want you to go in the city. I want you to get one of these unworthy women, which was basically like a prostitute woman, marry her, make her honest, and have these children. And he's like prophesizing to him, telling him, look, and if you do these things, this is what I'm going to do in my time. Alexa, play Sweet Emotion, Aerosmith. So he gets this wife, Gomer. He goes in the city and he does exactly what God tells him to do. And they have these 3 children. And every time he has these children, his spirit comes back and he says, like, and he He's like, this is what I want you to name them, and this is, in my time, this is what's going to happen. Because the chosen one in this story is actually the first son that Gomer gave him, Jezreel. And that was the one he said, I will make this person stand up in front of Israel and choose me for their laws. So while these children are growing up, God's working in the wilderness with these sinners, basically, telling them, look, you haven't chosen well, and I'm going to take you to a dry place. I'm going to strip you naked, and you're not going to have a path. You're not going to have anywhere to go if you don't change your ways. And so it's kind of like confusing, because you're like, well, but you have to realize Spirit had to use the tools that were available to him, right? All he had was a city full of sinners, so he's going to use the sinners. I mean, I'm sure there's books of the Bible that got like displaced because God just didn't put up with that at all. He just disregarded the whole city. But in this particular instance, this glorious, merciful instance, he said, I'm going to use what I have. I'm going to take these sinners, I'm going to change their lives. Because he didn't want to get rid of them all. And I'm sure there's books of the Bible where he did get rid of them all, because he's like, you know what, I'm not dealing with this. So he's a merciful God. He's a good God. This is Old Testament, by the way. This is before Jesus. But the moral of the story is Hosea really learned to love. He really learned to love and trust the Spirit that was speaking to him, because he could see the changes in the city of Israel. And it came to pass, that his son was risen up, and they chose a holier path than to worship these idols. Yeah, it just really amazes me how Spirit will work with you where you're at, regardless of where you think you're at. Does that make sense? Like, you think, okay, well, I've got this figured out, I'm good, I'm solid, and then Spirit comes knocking on your door going, okay, yeah, but what about this? You see, he's good. He wants you whole. He doesn't want you fragmented. He's wanting the confused to be made clear. I did this because of this. He's not disrespecter of persons. What you do for the very least is very important to him. So what you think he doesn't notice or what he doesn't really care about is probably what he cares about the most, is what I'm getting at. And it is about the foods we put in our body. Okay, I'm guilty of this too. I should be cooking squash and eggplant, things like that, because those are holier things to put in your, because they've got cells. They're living. It's a living food. We're eating all this dead stuff, and we're expecting to feel alive. Well, if you eat a bunch of dead stuff all day, are you going to really feel alive? So that's when we fall into chemical dependency, because the chemicals make us feel alive. But that's not Spirit. That's not God. That's what I'm saying. We have to eat more things with cells and that come from the earth, but we've put a lot of things in the earth too that we have to be aware of. So some of it we can't control, in other words. But our little steps, our little precious steps of love and good faith and pure souls. Like, I listen to these readings, and you guys, you're pure souls. Like, it's just simple. You keep it real. Like, this is just a simple message for people. Okay, so for today, King of Wands, Sagittarius. Love the Sagittarius with their bow and arrow. Sagittarius. Okay, so this guy knows the truth. This guy will speak wisdom to you that will blow your mind. He'll tell you, you're getting fat. Like, this is the kind of, they speak truth. And they don't care if it hurts or not. They just ping you with the truth. They ping you. Alexa, play Refugee. That's what I love about Sagittarius, is they know the truth. But they're the candlelight of all the fire signs. They're not, Aries is the forest fire. Leo's that nice little fireplace. This is that mutable fire, just that candle flame. So it's romantic, but it's really, this person's gonna come with you with just that little ping and let you decide the rest. Does that make sense? That's in the center of this message. Because he's gonna tell you about this new beginning. Thank God, right? You're coming up a notch, collective. You're thinking this over. You know when Spirit's giving you your towers. You know when Spirit's wanting you to think a different way. And your subconscious is this big fight. struggle you've been in. I think you're so loving, collective. That's so natural that you weren't looking for all these battles. But of course, that's why you're here, right? Just to sway the souls to a better, holier, more blessed way to live. But you might be walking in this energy, collective, because you've got all these spiritual weapons now that are so tuned in to the universe. Like, okay, now your intuition is keyed in. Now you're looking at signs and symbols. Now you're seeing wax people. I mean, you're picking up on energies like, damn. It can be, you can handicap yourself too, because God wants you to walk in love. So even though you're going around seeing all this stuff, He wants you to be loving as you do it. So this is in your subconscious, is this battle that you come, maybe you're still in, you know? To this guy. So I was looking in here. This is an old book. I love the old books that have the meanings of tarot. The older ones are better, I'm just gonna say. If you have a bookstore in your city that specializes in used books, that's where you want to go. Not that the new publications aren't great and awesome, but the old, you know, like Linda Goodman, she was just, oh my God, if you guys haven't read Linda Goodman, you need to read Linda Goodman. She was in the 70s, she was just she was an Aries too. She was just this forest fire of information about star stuff, galaxy stuff. I know I read something about pentacles and I wanted to share. Oh yeah, the pentagram is the form of an amulet, believed to protect against evil spirits. So these little amulets here protect against evil spirits. So it don't matter if it's a page or a queen or a king or whatever it is. These are protecting you from evil spirits. And right now, they're balancing those. Because you can't have good without evil, right? So they're balancing these for you right now. That's in the forefront of your mind. Because you know you have to walk with both forces. That's just the law of the universe. So we're going to figure out a way for you to walk in it that's a balanced way. Does that make sense? Where maybe it benefits you more. Because I feel like collective in the past, you gave too much. So now it's going to help you lift you up and have it benefit you. Does that make sense? Like you don't have to sell your kidney. You don't have to, you know what I mean? Like you don't have to sell your plasma. You are too valuable to sell, okay? First of all, this is a holy temple, okay? It's bad enough that you may drink or smoke or cuss or whatever, but to sell it, to make your ends meet, it's not what God had intended. That's not the holy plan. So we're going to find a balance for that, because maybe that's all you have right now are 2 pentacles. God bless you. Alexa, play Blaze of Glory, Bon Jovi. Okay, so then you got this guy. This is where you're leading from, this 7 of Wands. God, this card comes up in all these readings. You're just standing your ground. Like this is where I feel comfortable. I don't care if you call me batshit crazy. It's just what I feel comfortable with. And you're so uncomfortable with the karmic train. Like, if you're still around karmics and you still have to be in the matrix and you still have to go to the grocery, you still have to do these normal things because that's what normal people do, it absolutely wears you out, because you're not on the karmic train anymore, but you got to ride it every day. Does that make sense? And that's where you get your angels in that atmosphere. You just picture them right there. Boom. I got Gabriel. You know, Gabriel's the one that rules water. So Gabriel's the energy for your emotions. So if you're feeling really emotional in a situation, you need to call in Gabriel, because he's the one that can help you alchemize that. He's for your tears, man. You know, that Archangel Michael, he's for your battle, but Gabriel's about the tears. And that sometimes can be harder than the battle. Because, I just want to get through this message without breaking down in tears. And that's okay, because if you can laugh, then you're getting over it, okay? Laugh between a laugh and a tear, right? Isn't there a song about that? The Fool. And you're headed toward this new direction. You know it's coming, and you're kind of scared because there's that cliff and stuff there. And I love the cards that show the little dude on the motorcycle right at the cliff. It's like, what's that guy gonna do? He's Evel Knievel, right? He's gonna jump that cliff. That's what he's gonna do. That's you. That's you, collective. You've come this far. You can't be scared of this. There's a story about a guy that walked a tightrope across Niagara Falls. It was in the 20s. I don't know, you can look it up. Some professor told me this in my religious class. This guy walked this tightrope across Niagara Falls. He got halfway out across the falls and he came back. He's walking a tightrope across Niagara Falls. He comes back. There's a crowd of people watching this. And they are like cheering him on, you know, like, oh, this is so amazing. Look at this person being a complete idiot. But yeah, he comes back and he goes, okay, I did it halfway. Who wants to go? Who wants to go now? He had already proved to these people, this crowd of people, that you can go halfway. But nobody wanted to do it. Nobody volunteered to go on the rope. And that's what faith is, right? Faith and spirit and universe and universal laws is, okay, yeah, I'll get on the rope. I saw that you did it. Let me see if I can balance. Yeah, that's faith. That's what's the hard part. And that's what this guy is right here. He may look foolish, but man, that takes a lot of balls to be up there and yell, I'll walk the tightrope. You're headed toward, look, this guy has the little world in his hand and all these wands. Let me see what it says about wands in here. I know it's a phallic symbol, these wands, but it also is something about will and power. Fire. Yeah. Makes sense, right? Will and power, the wands. And you got 3 of them there. You got 2 of them there. This is the 2 wands. Will and power. And 2. So you got that polarity, the same polarity that's showing up in this reading with the pentacles. Okay? Protecting you from evil. Protecting you from evil. Will and power. Walking the tightrope. Getting across the Niagara Falls. Looks pretty scary. Don't look down. This is how people see you. Wow, this person creates a lot of justice around her. I wear the justice card. You may want to wear the justice card for a while because it'll empower you to be more balanced in your life. It's not about judging anybody. It's about staying balanced so that you walk in your justice. That's why I wear it. But this is how people are seeing you, and the vibration of this is like that you're coming across judgmental. I don't want to come across judgmental because I haven't made it across that rope, that Niagara Falls rope. So I have no idea what's on the other side. I have downloads of what's on the other side, but it can change in a heartbeat of the decisions that you're making currently. So believe me, I don't want to be in a judgmental like, well, this is exactly where you deserve to be. That's not my vibe. But this is the vibe they think that you're thinking. So collective, just be really softened with your thoughts at this time and be aware of that because that's not our message. That's not our message. Like if you would have done it our way, you would have, no, because this wasn't easy. This wasn't an easy way. This was a last resort because the things that you were doing collective weren't working. They weren't working. So you had to lay everything down practically everything except breathing to do this. So you have to be really softened with your environment and this vibe around you. And then here we go. There's another pentacle. And what does the pentacle do? It protects you from evil. There's a king here that holds one. He's an authority, right? This has a really good vibration, actually. I don't think I will qualify this, but I think this one might be protecting you. He's holding one, but the king has several. Isn't that interesting? How earth signs, not that they're secretive, because that's more of a Scorpio trait, but earth signs aren't really flashy like a fire sign. You know, they're shyer, like the Virgo's shy, and the Taurus is just kind of quiet and stern, and Capricorn's so busy with climbing that mountain that they're not sharing their cards. This is that energy right here. So he may be holding one, but there's several more where that came from. Alexa, play Staying Alive. Oh, look at this last card. I don't think she heard me. Alexa, play BG, Staying Alive. So something is like double whammy to this person. Yeah, the secrets. Okay, so I'm going to read from this book, The Secrets, and then I'll clarify the king for you too to make sure it's a good vibration here. So the moon A feminine astrological symbol of personality, also of the subconscious mind. The reflected light of the subconscious. Okay, well, that makes sense. A lot of us interpret this card when we do the reading as secrets. It's ruled by the moon, Cancer. But the Cancer feminine symbol is bringing you closer to your subconscious, where you're manifesting what you're creating. So this little crustacean right here, he's important too. Shellfish, the early stages of conscious unfoldment, related to the zodiac symbol of the crab, may invade the territory of the waking consciousness and give rise to fears. So this little guy right here is going to help you have that tower moment that you need to walk with a lens. You don't want that lens of a victim, right? You want the lens of, okay, this is what happened to me. I'm a new person. I actually asked Jesus, I said, okay, so who do I need to consult about people that have been beat out of gangs? And he said, me. Of course, right? Because he endured the cross. And he said, you remember nobody recognized me when I rose. Because Mary Magdalene went in the tomb. Didn't recognize him. Thought he was the gardener. Okay? Because he was a different person. Okay, so this little guy right here is going to help you become that new person, because that new person has scars, but they're not traumatized by the events that occurred. Does that make sense? Because they're going to walk with strength, will, and power, the wands. Yeah, you're going to walk with some fire. I love you, collective. I got to go catch the karmic train. I love you.